Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello everyone and welcome to your English class. In our lesson today, we'll continue with our Unit 3, which is titled If It Hadn't Happened. Our lesson today is the second part from the writing lesson in your books, page 42 and 43. All you need for the lesson today is your books, page 42 and 43, a sheet of paper and a pen to take down your notes. So let's get started. From the previous lesson, which was the reading lesson, page 105, you had exercise J. Look at the picture and write as many words as you can about how people benefit from jobs in oil industry. So at the beginning, we'll start with only words. You will come up with any word that is related how people benefit because we had discovered oil. We can start in here how people benefit from jobs in oil industry. Security employment, secure employment, benefits, pay, education, housing, as well as higher level living standards. So you can come up with any word that you believe that is related to this job sector. Okay. Now, write sentences explaining how things would have been different if oil hadn't been discovered. So we will go to the past and we will cancel oil from history. Oil hadn't been discovered. Then we will come back to the present and we will describe our lives without oil. So we can use the if conditional. If oil hadn't been discovered, industry wouldn't have developed the way it has. So, because industry depends on oil. No oil, so no industry. Or we will have different type. Number 2, if oil hadn't been discovered, automobiles wouldn't have developed the way they have. Speaking about cars, vehicles, no oil, so we will have totally different forms of transportation because we're depending nowadays on oil for transportation. 3, if oil hadn't been discovered, a number of countries wouldn't have developed into rich nations. So we will have different rich nations or countries because they depend on oil. You can come up with any sentence as long as it is about not discovering oil in the past and how our present would be. Okay, for our lesson today, by the end of today's lesson, you will be able to identify an advice letter. Also, you'll be able to take notes on a written letter, and at this time you will write an advice letter. Let's get started with this. From the previous lesson, which was taking notes on an advice letter, do you like sharing things with your friends? Just refer to the letter from Maryam to Sabah. How about you? Do you like sharing items with your friends? Even with your siblings, brothers and sisters, with others? Maybe you can tell, no, I am totally against sharing things. My things belong to me, and I don't like sharing them. I feel that I will be the best one who would use them. Or you will say, no, I totally agree. Friendship requires certain sacrifices. Friendship is more important to me, or relationships are more important to me than items, so I will give the others my things as long as we are still friends. Okay, now a letter of advice in your books, page 43, the writing corner, and we're referring to Sabah's letter. Okay, get the facts. When you are getting the facts, you are referring to the letter that was sent to you, so you can write your advice. So refer and summarize. What had the writer told you? They had told me about let's say, the handbag. So just speak about that handbag. Then, points of view. Who are we having in here? We're having Sabah and her friend. So you put yourself in Sabah's situation and then in her friend's situation. Try to understand both of them. Also, we're having the tone. This time, try to be not judgmental. You're not giving commands. You are trying to just give advice. And do not patronize. You're not giving commands to those people. Try to be much more polite to people. Also, understanding. When you are understanding, but do not lie. You tell them that you have read their letter and how you feel towards it. I can feel how would you I would feel the same if I were in your situation. I understand how it feels. Try to sympathize with the writer. And also suggestions, and this is the core for the advice letter. Someone had written asking for advice. They are asking for what you think. Suggestions in here, not commanding. Do it. No, you should have done this. You should have done that. You can say you should do this or that. Try to give advice or a suggestion. Okay, back to the letter in on page 42. The advice letter by Maryam. At the beginning, she tried to introduce the problem, an introduction to the problem, summarizing it, repeating or having Sabah's words, then discussing her first concern. Her first concern, that I don't like the idea of sharing. My first concern, but your friend needs you. Then discussing the second concern, which was about, I was afraid that she would return it damaged, but you could have asked her to be more sure. And by the very end, we're having the suggestion, if I were you, I would call her. It would be a good idea to do this or to do that. So you can follow this one to write your own advice letter. Okay, now in your book's page 43, B, choose one of the letters in the unit and write an answer to. You can flip through the unit and choose whatever letter that was written about a problem, and this time it will be your time to reply to it. We're having actually two from the reading lesson, the one between friends, borrowing money from others, and the other one is the limo driver. We can choose any one of them, and we will speak about relationship between friends, just like Sabah and Maryam's letter, and we will speak about the one which is the first letter in the reading lesson. Now read the letter again and make notes in the organizer. Include notes with your own advice. So as a reminder, we're having two friends. One had a loan or borrowed some money from his friend twice. When the friend asked him for the money back, he felt so bad and he was upset. He threw the money at the counter and he said, I don't want anything to come up with you. So, because he felt like he was embarrassed. Okay, so as a reminder, what is the writing process? We will start always with planning. And this time, planning, our plan is clear. It's going to be an advice letter about the problem, which is money and friends relationship. And it is going to be an advice letter with the same organization. Then drafting. Drafting is writing down your ideas. Reread the problem, take out your notes. You can write words, phrases, not complete sentences. Then we will go to the revision. Revise your ideas that you have already drafted. Are they all related? Are they all possible? Can you all write about them all? You can add and delete. Then we will go to the editing part. At this time, you can start with revising your grammar, your spelling, punctuations, and these things. And come up with the last one, which is the publishing. You are all done and you can send it out. Okay. In your book's page 43, read the letter again and make notes in the organizer. The organizer tells you in here the letter is going to be from whom. Refer to the reading lesson, or if you have any other letter, you can, who had written this letter. We will divide it into 4 actions. So the letter was from a confused friend. He signed his name with a confused friend. What had happened? Number 1, my friend borrowed some money from me when he wanted to buy a DVD. Then he borrowed more the other day at a pizza restaurant. Then, what follows? He felt upset when I asked him for the money. And by the end, in here, he said that he wanted nothing to do with me because I had embarrassed him. Okay, this is what happened in the story. Now we will come up with one more level and we will try to give advice. Now be the advice column writer and write your answer. Now it is the part where you are going to be giving advice. So, a confused friend had written, "My friend borrowed some money from me to buy a DVD." So we can tell a friend in need is a friend indeed. So it is a good thing to give and share money with your friends. This is the advice column writer's point of view. You can come up with whatever comes to your mind. Maybe you will say, you shouldn't have given him the money. Then the second thing, what happened? He borrowed more the other day. Now I gave him more money. I will say, you shouldn't have loaned the money that you need. If you need the money, why have you given it to them or to your friend? You should have kept it for yourself. Then we're having, he felt upset when I asked him for the money. When I needed the money, I asked him for it, and he felt so upset. He threw the money and walked away. So, he who is quick to borrow is slow to pay. It's a kind of a proverb. Anyone who is quick to take is very slow to pay you back. So always be aware of that. Then by the end, I called him and he said that he wanted nothing to do with me again. He said, "I'm so mad, I don't want to have anything to do with you. And I have lost my friend over $25. We will say, you should have talked to him later when it sank in, when the time passed on and he gradually might forget about it. You can come up with any advice which are different than these. Now we've got the organization or the organizer. Now we can start organizing our ideas. At the beginning, we are speaking about lending the money. My first paragraph or first group will be about the idea of lending him the money. I will give advice with this regard. Then the other one, getting the money back. When the friend asked his other friend about to get him his own money. Then by the very end, we will come up with what to do next, or suggestion, the advice, the core of our advice letter. So I'm going to go through these. What happened first, which is giving the money, asking for the money back, then I will come with my advice. We have to follow these writing rules. As a reminder for you, the first thing is your own ideas. Always make sure that all of the ideas are about one topic, which is borrowing money from friends. Don't refer to any other things. Also, the idea of paragraphs. If you are going to write your writing into paragraphs, each one paragraph should be about one idea. The first one could be about giving the money to my friend, getting it back, and the last one could be about the conclusion or the advice. Check your grammar. Make sure that you are using the correct tense. Past tense about what had happened, and if you are writing the command, it should be in the present tense. Then spelling. Make sure that you are writing the all names or all words are correctly spelled. And capitalization, you can refer to the rule for capitalization. Names are in capital. After the full stop, new sentence, all of them should be in capital letter. And by the end, punctuations, which are the full stops, question marks, apostrophes, commas, and these things. You will revise them the very end, then you can submit them. Okay, at the beginning, lending the money. The first group of ideas. I can write these. I will draft my own ideas. You gave him the money that you had saved for months from your allowance. I am repeating the idea. Friends are always there for each other. So I am going to write these two sentences, these two ideas into one paragraph. Then getting the money back. How about getting the money back? I can say, it's devastating to hear such words from a friend. Also, you should have asked him differently. And also, you shouldn't have asked him for the money in public. So, I understand how it feels. However, you did it the wrong way when you asked him for the money in public. By the end, what to do next, suggestions or advice, I can tell, I would advise you to call him back later. Maybe you could offer him the money as a gift. You can write any one of these. You can write it in the form of advice. If I were you, I would do this or I would do that. Ideas could vary and you can write your own ideas. Okay, now let's start writing in here. The first group of ideas we have, dear friend. Notice that I have started with a capital letter, then I'm having a comma after dear friend. I am sorry that you are devastated that you lost your friend over $25. I understand that you loaned him from the allowance you had saved over months. But as you say, you don't mind helping out a friend if you can. Notice that we have started with a capital letter, then ended up with a full stop, then it will be followed by a capital, and we're having here, but you said this and you said that, and I understand, echoing and telling the ideas again, repeating them to give the sense that I have read your letter and I understood it. Then the following, I understand that it is upsetting to be misunderstood by a close friend, but a friend in need is a friend indeed. Moreover, friendship requires some sacrifices if you want it to last longer. So I am afraid I will agree with your friend that you shouldn't have embarrassed him in public. Notice that here, I understand how you feel. I sympathize with you, as well as in here, however, I totally disagree with you with what you have done, and I agree with your friend. You shouldn't have asked him for the money in public. The last idea in here, the suggestions. If I were you, I would call and apologize for my friend. I am sure he will understand that you hadn't done that on purpose. I hope it goes well with you, your friend. If I were you, now putting myself in your place and trying to give you advice, it's not patronizing or commanding, I would call and I would apologize. Then, with a good ending, I am sure that he will understand. I'm putting myself in the friend's place. He will understand and that you hadn't done that on purpose. Then the ending, I hope it goes well with you, and sign your name with your friend. You can write any other ideas. Let's go ahead and try to correct what we have already written. This is part the mistake. Dear friend, then we're having a comma. What do we have in here? It should end up with a comma, that's right. However, start with a capital D. It should be a capital D. I am sorry that you were devastated that you lost your friend over $25. So in here, you were devastated. It's not where you are devastated. Something happened in the past, now is devastated, that you are upset. I understand that you loan him the allowance that you had saved over months. Notice loan in here. You loan him today? No, you loaned him in the past. You gave him your money that you had saved over months. But as you say, this is we're having here a phrase, time phrase. As you said, you say, you don't mind helping friends if you can. I understand that it is upsetting to be misunderstood by a close friends. So we're having one friend, so this one should be a close friend. but a friend in need is a friend indeed. Moreover, notice capital M should be a full stop in here or a small m. Friendship requires some sacrifices if you want it to last longer. Never start with a capital letter unless it is a new sentence. New line doesn't require capital letters, so the S here should be in small letter. Some sacrifices if you want it to last longer. So, I'm afraid I will agree with your friend that you shouldn't have embarrassed him in public. Notice shouldn't, the short form, apostrophe. If I were you, I would call and apologize for my friend. If I were you, after the F clause, we have to use a comma. I'm sure he will understand that you had done that in purpose. This should be on. It is on, it's not in purpose. I hope it goes well with you. A full stop, your friend, and you will sign. So this is the right ones. Try to make sure that your grammar, your spelling, as well as we're having the punctuations and capitalizations are all right. When you're writing your own advice letter, you can refer to the self-assessment table on page 127. Here, you will ask yourself, am I doing great? So it is all good. Am I doing good? So I can improve it. I'm doing okay. I have to work more on it. Or it needs more work, so you have to rewrite it again. What are the categories in here? Make notes. Can you make your own notes? Ask yourself. Can you describe personal feelings and views? How you can describe feelings. Can you organize past events in a clear way? What had happened in the past? Can you express your thoughts and your opinions? What you think about what had happened? Can you refer to experiences and related information? I have been through the same situation. Can you speculate about different outcomes? I know that your friend is going to understand. Also, edit and correct your mistakes. Can you go back and find out your mistakes? Can you close with a positive note? I know things are going to go well. And use appropriate language or style. This time, regardless formality or informality, here we're speaking about being polite and not giving judgments. You're not judging others, you are giving them advice. For your homework, you will write your own letter of advice. You can refer to the reading lesson. We're having some people asking Mario for advice. You can reply to their letters. Okay, I guess that is it for the lesson today, and thank you so much for your time.